everyone, and welcome back to the second series of Beyond Beaglington, as I try and get out of the railway room and do something different. There's something going on down there. I believe there's something stuck under the bridge. Give the peck a bit of a push. What is it? Oh, it's a potato! But of course, yes, that's right. This episode is all about what you can do with small rooster potatoes. So last year we grew some roosters in the garden from some that had started to sprout from a bag we bought, etc. And this episode is going to show you just what you can do with those small potatoes at the bottom of the bag. So join me in the kitchen for I've grown it, so I'll eat it. It's much bigger than anything I've grown. So I was down at the station, wondering what I could do. Then an idea came to me as I stood on platform 2. I'll take a train beyond Beaglington and try something new. Yes, hello and welcome back to the kitchen, and welcome back to another episode of I've Grown It, so I'll Eat It. And in this episode, we'll be looking at what you can make with some Irish rooster potatoes, because we grew some, and we're going to see what you can do with some rooster potatoes. So I have got an idea about what I'm going to do, and I don't know how well it's going to work because I've not done it before, but I'm intending on making some potato cubes in the air fryer. That's seasoned, and at the same time I'm going to attempt to make a barbecue sauce, not with the potatoes, to dip them in. So join me as I attempt to cook something up here in the Beaglington Kitchen. So let's get cracking. So it's important first that we rewash your potatoes that have already been washed thoroughly but are now growing. So to get all the little eyes off of there, turn that down a bit, you might actually be able to hear me. So you get all the horrible little growthy bits off of them, and you make sure that they're nice clean. If they've been scrubbed before, they're alright. We're going to peel the skin off anyways, and they're going to be washed, and then they're going to be chopped, and then re-washed again, but we'll get to that in a minute. I can see a cat that isn't spot put in my garden in the kitchen window. It's a little black cat with a white chest, and I'm not showing you because my hands are wet. Now, there we go. That's pretty much all of those bits off. So now I'm going to take these over to the chopping board. There's all of my bits in there. To get those out so they don't go down the plug hole. Right, that will do. On to the next step. So we've got the washed spuds here, and we're going to peel them first. And make sure they're nice and clean. Nearly done. And of course, if you want, you can set aside your peelings for your compost bin, if you have one. So I just move those out of the way. I tend to find when I'm peeling spuds and stuff, all the white starchy stuff gets everywhere, so I use a bit of kitchen paper just to wrap it all up. So I'll just pop that out of the way. Yes. So, and there's a bit of skin there as well underneath the air fryer. No, I don't mind. So that is now ready to soak. And I'll put a bit of cling film over that so nothing gets into it. And I will return back in half an hour and be able to season them. Right, so the potatoes have now been soaking. Just wash my hands. Always remember to wash your hands a lot when you're working in the kitchen. So we've got these potatoes, which I will now drain. You might be able to hear dear old Smuffus in the front room giving out. I don't want him in here because I don't really want his cat hair in everything right this second. If you've got a cat, you probably know what I'm on about. Cat hair does tend to get everywhere, and you might be able to see some of the starch dripping out of there, like a white liquid. We'll give them a wash again to make sure that we get the starch off. I'll just drain that there. Oop, last one, never mind. Right, so the next step is to get these dry. So we're just going to pour these out onto the kitchen paper. How did that one get away without being chopped? That's alright, just do that. Take that, there we go, that's fine. And we'll get some more gym paper to dry them off in a second. But you want to make sure they're nice and dry before we season them. Although they are going to have oil on them, so it should be alright. Yeah, that'll do. And then dry the bowl out because we're going to reuse the bowl for doing our seasoning. Okay, right. So, on to the seasoning. So we have our bowl here, and we're going to put the potatoes in. They might still be a little bit damp, but they're not soppy wet. Yeah, right. Next, to make sure I've got my silicone spatula with me. It's handy to have one of these. Now I'm going to add a drizzle of oil over the top because my air fryer is nice and clean on the inside. There's no oily residue, but we need something to get the seasoning to stick to the spuds. So we'll just turn them over like this until they're all nicely coated. And then we can add some seasoning. So we're going to add some paprika. 1 second. No! Don't scratch the sofa. It's new. So we're going to start by adding some paprika to it. To make sure that we get enough on the actual spuds and not just the bowl. We need some space for some other seasoning. We've got some black pepper. Mix. What else can we add? We can add some garlic powder. I've got a very fine garlic powder because some of them can be a bit too grainy. Don't need too much of that, but then again, I do like garlic. Now obviously, if there are some things that irritate you, some people don't like garlic, some people don't like spices, I probably shouldn't eat either of them. But you can obviously change round how you season things because, you know, you don't want to make yourself ill. There's a bit of oregano. Too much of that because I need to keep it for other things. And then what else can I add? I have got a bit of salt. So we can use a bit of salt for that. And finally, I think I'll add some cayenne chili pepper. Just a little dash of that. There we go. And so you mix that all together. And you have your seasoned cubes, or potato chunks, I suppose. And then we can put them in the air fryer. So the air fryer is just here. I'll just move the camera. So now, oh, I can see my reflection. Hello. Right, so now we're going to use the air fryer. So just turn it on. Whoa. And it comes on, and we have a display, and we have a fries setting. So that's what I'm going to attempt to use. And we have a couple of shelves in this one. So if I just put out a bit of kitchen paper underneath them, that's going to be too ruined to use, but we don't have seasoning and oil and stuff going all over the side. So we have that, and we can just put some on one tray, spread them out, and then some on another tray. Wow, I can actually smell it properly now. These spuds, they actually smell really nice. Ooh. Now, we'll put that in at the top. And we've got another tray here. Some more on that. Do. There. Try and make sure they're spaced out a bit so that they cook all round. Which is the advantage of a tiered air fryer like this, is that they're not all sat on the one thing. They've got lots of air circulating around them. So those should be fine. So we can put those in there and press the old start button. And if we want to look at them, there's the light. And there they are. So we'll see how they are after like 15 minutes. Just while the spuds are cooking there, we're going to crack on and try and make some homemade barbecue sauce. Well, we'll see how that goes anyways. So yes, you'll have to excuse the noise of the fan as we attempt to do this from the air fryer. So I've got a medium-sized pot. I think that's what it means anyways when you look at recipes and it says a medium-sized pot. It's the middle size between the other two pots in the set. So there you go. And I'm going to put the heat on, I think 4 for now while I start. And so I've got some passata, which is a sort of tomato sauce, but it's not quite like ketchup. So I'm going to put a decent amount of that in, because if it turns out nice, I want an excess of it. I can put it in a little pot and keep it. And so I need some sugar, because that will help, I don't know, make it sticky, caramelize it. So there you go. There's some brown sugar. It's not as sweet, presumably, as normal sugar. It'll have a deeper flavour. That's my guess. Anyways. So I've seen that you can use vinegar or cider vinegar with this, so I've just got some random cider vinegar from my cupboard. I have no idea how much to put in, so I'm just going to put in that much. Why not? That's a guess. That's the thing with my cooking, is that you can attempt to follow a recipe, anything like that. Whatever I do, it's always just chuck it in. It says this much. Oh, put this much in. Maybe just a little bit more. So. Dijon mustard, I think, and a bit of sort of tang and a bit of heat. So, I don't know how much to go for. 1, is that enough? About 3 teaspoons for now, we can always add more later. And then, what else am I going to add to that? Here's some Worcestershire sauce. There's lots of different recipes online, but they all seem to have the same kind of stuff in it. How much should I put in that? A bit more. Can't have Worcestershire sauce. Yes, so there's many recipes online that you can find, and you can just look at them and go, I'll take the elements of that, and I'll take some elements of that, and I'll just put it together and see how it turns out. So I need spices, paprika again, because why not? And pepper, I'd say I'm going to put some black pepper in, and I'm going to put in a tiny bit of salt. And I'm going so I'm not going to put in the cayenne pepper. Don't think I need oregano. A little bit of garlic in. Do you know, I've never actually read the back of the barbecue sauce bottle to see what's actually in it. But now we shall wait and see how this heats up. So I'm just going to lift it off the heat a sec, and I'm just going to mix in some of the ingredients together. It's still quite red. I wonder if I've used too much of the old tomato there. But we'll see, because I know I have seen in the shop some of the barbecue sauces are quite red. But you never know. We'll see, maybe as the sugar starts to caramelise a bit, does that happen? We'll see whether it changes colour. The wedges, or cubes, or whatever it is I'm cooking inside the air fryer, they, if I check the lights, are still looking alright. So that's something. Right, so I'll turn the heat up now and see if we can get this bubbling. They've been in there for 9 minutes now. They look pretty good. Right, as you can see, we are getting some steam up. It's not sticking. The handy thing with these silicone doodads is that, you know, they don't keep the sauce on them stuck, whatever. They're pretty good for pushing it off the bottom of the pot as well. I've turned the heat up to 6 now, and the potatoes have 3 minutes to go. But if they finish before the sauce, I can heat them up afterwards. But yes, they look fine anyways. I have to say, it's a very strange smell now that I'm getting off of this. You've got that kind of strong smell from the mustard, or it could just be because the pot's open on the side. And then you've got sort of like that kind of ketchup-y smell. I suppose that's the vinegar and the tomato mixed together. Now, I did look at the recipe things for barbecue sauce when I was deciding how I was going to make it. What I didn't do was look at how to make it besides chuck everything in a pot and keep stirring. I presume you're supposed to reduce it down from this to an actual sauce. So I suppose I'll turn the heat down in a minute or two and bring it back to a sort of simmer so that it doesn't burn to the bottom of the pot. Although if it did burn, it would give it more of a brown colour, wouldn't it? There we go, I've turned the heat down a bit now. Okay, so the cubes have finished, and we can have a look at them now, and I'll warm them up again afterwards, but they do look very good. I'm just going to close them up now and get back to making the sauce. So the sauce is still very red at the moment, so I'm going to add a bit more Worcestershire sauce to it. I did have a small taste. I'll have another one now, actually, and see. This is quite sweet. Oh, wow. It's definitely got some flavour anyways. A little bit of that. And I think I'll add, in my drawer of spices, a little bit of chilli powder. It's a mild chilli powder. I'll just give you a dusting of that. And maybe a tiny bit of the cayenne. There we go. We'll give that a mix and we'll get it back on the heat. Now I highly advise, if you are going to copy me or attempt to do the same thing, you make the sauce separately on a different day before you do your potatoes, because I tell you what, it takes an awful lot longer, especially when you're using an electric hob, to make the sauce than it does to make the potatoes. I suppose you could do it in a half hour while they're soaking, like I should have done, but I realised I didn't have some of the ingredients, so I actually had to go out and buy some mid-episode filming to get them. It's maybe I put too much tomato in at the start, but it's just taking a long time to reduce down. I have turned down the heat and I'm stirring it. It's spitting quite a lot. I will try and clean this up as I go. it's always better to wipe down as you go as well, because it saves an awful lot on the mess. I've already done some of the washing up while I was waiting for it to heat up, but the sauce is starting to look more like a proper sauce. At the moment it's more like a sort of cooking sauce. I'm waiting for it to get a bit thicker, so it's more like a condiment sort of sauce. It has gone darker, so that's working. I suppose if you used molasses instead of brown sugar, you would probably have that darker brown kind of colour. But I don't have an especially well-stocked cupboard. In fact, most of my cupboard seems to be stocked with things like hot chocolate and marshmallows and other things that kids seem to like. Yeah, it's starting to go well. I think it's going to go well. It definitely looks more combined anyways. You can see here, look, it's more like it should be. But yeah, we'll keep going with this anyways, and I'll show you how it's working out. Right, well, I've been stirring this vigorously, listening to Green Day's Saviour's album, because it's taking forever, but it is finally starting to get that kind of sticky thickness that I'm after in terms of the sauce. And the good thing is that I should have some to put aside to use if it tastes nice. So I'm literally, basically what I'm doing is I'm just leaving it on the hob. And I have to say, I've done an awful lot of this stirring. An awful lot of this. But it's getting that extra moisture out of it. And I'm really hoping it's going to be nice. It's almost at the right consistency. I'd say another minute or two of this and then it'll be perfect. And then I can get my potatoes and dip them in it. So here we have the potatoes just warming up gently and ready to be served. So I'm just going to take some of the sauce and I'm just going to pop it into this ramekin. That's enough. I'd say I don't want to use too much for the video because I want to save it for actually enjoying. So I'm just waiting for the potatoes to finish now. Right, well the potatoes are just heating and they'll be done in a minute. I've got my sauce here to try. So we're just waiting on these now, and then I'll serve them up and I'll try them. That should be enough. So we'll turn the air fryer off. It's smoky in here now. I didn't have the extractor fan on because that would have made too much noise, even louder than the air fryer. But I can sort that out later. So, myself a dishcloth. These out with. Because the oven gloves are a bit too thick, and this air fryer did come with a tool to do this, but it's very finicky. It's difficult to get it onto the trays. So I'm going to put these into here, just adjust there and get the fork, drag these down. They sound good, they don't sound wet, and they sound kind of slightly crispy. Oh no, a travesty, we've lost one. Right, so put that back up at the top, so we can get that out without burning myself. And yeah, and there's lots here. And apparently you can freeze them. So I can have a couple of them, I can leave them cool down, I can freeze them, and then I can heat them back up in the air fryer and have them properly with a meal, which is great. I've got an escaped one there. So that will be something I will probably do, because I'm not going to eat an entire bowl of these. Because actually, that's not bad actually. You saw the potatoes that we had at the start, there's a whole bowl of them there. That would be perfect if you were having some sort of meal where you needed a side. I'm just going to pick up this one because I don't just stamp it into the floor or the tread of my shoes. So now we've got the sauce and potatoes, or rather the potatoes and the sauce, and I'm going to try them. Right, so that's the cooking done of this episode of I've Grown It. So I'll cook it, or whatever the series is called. Well, the proof is in the taste, and they are very hot. So this is the potato cube. And I will get a close-up after this, and I'll try it with my barbecue sauce, which I haven't tried since I added extra ingredients. Oh, it's hot. That's actually pretty good, which I surprise even myself. There is a bit of spice to the. You can come in a few minutes, but a bit of spice to the potatoes. They're actually really, really nice. And the barbecue sauce is. It's just lacking that slightly deeper, richer, smokier taste. You know. But for a first go, pretty good. It's actually quite spicy, but also incredibly delicious. And very hot. Very hot. Take one from the edge. Well, that sauce actually worked out really well. It was so good. I'm surprised at how good the potatoes look. They look just like something like when you look at one of those websites and you're looking through all the recipes and stuff and going, what will I do myself? They actually look that good. Okay, maybe they're not presented as good. There is some heat to that now. That's cool. So there you go. From unwanted potatoes, or unused potatoes, say, unused potatoes, to the ground, to coming out, to being dirty, washed, stored for a ridiculously long time, really, that it's taken to get this done, and then started to grow again, and then cleaned off, and peeled and chopped and put in the fryer. So good. I'm sweating now though because I put too much spice in the two of them. As I did say, it's all about your own comfort. But actually, I am delightfully impressed with how this has turned out. I just actually can't believe that it's actually worked. So I'll just let you have a close-up now before I conclude. Oh yeah, look at those. You can see the dent I've made in my sauce, and thankfully I still have a whole heap of sauce left. But whew, like I said, I think I may have gone a bit overboard on some of the spices. Just one more. Oh, that's so good. Right. So I suppose that's all from the kitchen here in Beaglington, and I'll hand back over to myself in a second to conclude this episode of Beyond Beaglington. But thank you very much for joining me here in the kitchen to attempt to cook something. I hope you've enjoyed it, or at least if you haven't not enjoyed it, I'm enjoying it thoroughly because this tastes amazing. But I'm going to have to find a towel for my head because I'm sweating quite a lot from the spice. But yes, so like I said before, grown in the garden, and now here we are. So wonder what we can cook up next. Anyways, back to myself. So yes, those little potato cubes and wedges or whatever I made tasted bloody fantastic. And you know what? The sauce was amazing. And I actually took some of my sauce to work and shared it with some people, and they all said it was fantastic as well. So I'm really, really pleased with how that turned out. And I went back and I made myself a whole jar full of the sauce using roughly the same recipe. So I actually really impressed myself in the kitchen that time, at least. So join us again later in the series where hopefully I'll have another episode to do of cooking with my tomatoes, but we'll just have to wait and see. But for now, all I can say is if you've got some not so fantastic potatoes, they're a bit small and you don't know what to do with them, just quickly make some wedges or whatever, or cubes, and season them, and they're just a nice snack. And I think this year especially, 2024, potato farmers are having it very hard. And so I think if you see any of them, then, you know, just give them a pat on the back and say, it's not your fault, climate's buggered. But until next time, you've been a wonderful audience. I hope I've been a wonderful Alex, and I've had a delicious snack. So join us again for another episode of Beyond Beaglington. Don't forget you can like, comment, subscribe, and share to all of your friends. And well, we'll see you again. But for now, I'm off to enjoy the little bit of sunshine that we actually have today. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again next time. Ta-ra! Oh, and there's also the subscribe bubble and the playlist thing. Come on, potato.